Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and all Nodians in between. It is week 7, I believe, of the GeekNode podcast, and thank you very much for tuning in to have a listen. It is me, as usual, Pikey ZA, your lovely host with the face of an angel and the body of a Greek god. Joining me, as always, is a good friend, Desolation Morris. Say hello to the nice people. There you go. We are also joined by Daniel, or Kharrak, whichever you prefer, from GeekNode as well, who is one of our board gaming fundies. And our special guest of the week today is Eugene Vermeulen from SkyCastle Games, another Cape Townian, which makes me very happy. Hello, Eugene.
Hi there. How's it going?
Yeah, it's nice to have a Cape Townian here. There's far too many Joburg types involved in these podcasts for my liking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, sorry. So, yeah, yes, thanks very much for joining us. If you wouldn't mind just giving us a little bit of a breakdown on what you do, what your company does, and what you guys are up to that is particularly interesting at the moment.
Okay, well, in a nutshell, I run a company called SkyCastle Games. We probably the biggest, or one of the biggest, importers and distributors of board games in South Africa. We sell to everything from small independent stores all the way to some mass market stores like Exclusive Books, Look and Listen, Take Lot, all those guys, and the like I said, the comic book stores and so on as well, and hobby stores. And yeah, that's basically what we do, distributing board games. That's what we love doing. And at the moment we're just gearing for Christmas. Christmas is obviously around the corner, and we're just working.
That's a busy time.
Yeah, we're working our backsides off just to get all the stock out in time. So yeah, it's quite crazy right now.
Excellent. Oh, and sorry, I'm going to say just very quickly, this is completely off topic, but Mr. Bester will kill me if I don't do it for like the 7th week in a row. This podcast might contain swearing. You've been warned. Okay, cool. Now that's
required to say
we are required by the Bester to make sure that we say that. So you can't get upset with me this week, Jonathan. Unlucky. But sorry, yeah. Back on topic, Eugene. Christmas coming up. Board games. Obviously, it's a massive staple of anyone's Christmas. I think growing up. I've got a kid. I know it's one of my favourite things to do is just sit down with him and play board games. So. Yeah, Take a Lot. I've been looking through what you guys have been providing. Take a Lot. I think I saw some Talisman expansion packs on there.
Yeah, there are some Talisman's obviously one of the ranges we do, and there's quite a lot of them out at the moment already. It's one of those games that just refuses to die. I think. Yeah. It's just it's got its cult following, and it is doing well.
I am one of those. I'm very much a cult follower. I love mainly for nostalgic purposes because I grew up playing it. And I've got you can buy it online now as well. It's not as full featured and it's not the same as playing a physical board game, but it's it's quite easy to just quickly jump into a game and you can connect to random people around it, which is in its place. It's nice. It lacks the personality of having a physical game, but it's quite nice to have. But they've got all the expansions are available there as well. So I'm super excited to pick some up for the physical game and get cracking on that. Although, I don't know about the other guys.
I'm
personally,
sure Daniel.
I've actually not played Talisman. Well, I played a variant of it. What's the Warhammer 40,000 variant of it called? A Relic, I think.
Relic, that's right, yes.
Yes, I have played that. I actually do like that. And I know it's Talisman with a 40k skin with a few changes. And I do quite like that. And I think my group that has it is looking to play it again. So, yeah, I do enjoy Talisman. Well, a distant cousin to Talisman, I
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, wait, Eugene, are you not a huge fan of the Talisman?
What's
your favourite? Yeah, what's your favourite board game?
Oh,
my favourite board game. Who are you talking to now? Sorry, to Kharrak or to
Eugene?
Or to myself?
Eugene.
Eugene. Oh, right.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
if I say my all-time favorite board game, I would probably have to go with. I always say if there are 3 games that I'd run back into a burning house to go get, it would probably be Battlestar Galactica. I think it's a brilliant game. Merchants and Marauders would probably be my second one. And then my third one would probably be Cyclades. Those are the 3 games that I think just kind of covers so many great mechanics and just great play experiences. And
could I interject just this Battlestar Galactica? I've seen this thing around. Like, what do you do exactly? How does it work?
Okay. How long is this podcast?
Well, after a question like that, possibly 5 hours.
I think it's one of the earlier Traitor games. I don't think it's the first, but I think it's one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, I think Shadows of Camelot was the first one.
Yeah.
And but yeah, look, really, whether you're familiar with the series or not is really immaterial. You'll still absolutely enjoy the game, but it really does help to have watched the series because you can just identify with the characters and the theme. But basically, in a nutshell, you got the Cylons who look like humans have invaded the human colonies, and only one fleet has survived with one battleship, and they got to go to the next planet where they're trying to establish a home. Ultimately, they're looking for Earth, but in the base game, you are really just trying to get to the next step, the next colony, and trying to get away from the Cylon threat. But unbeknownst to you, unfortunately, there are a whole bunch of Cylons on board the fleet. They look like the humans, and you got to figure out who they are, whilst at the same time just trying to handle so many crises that are coming your way. You got 4 dials, which is population, food, fuel, and what is the other one? Morale. If any one of those go to 0, you as the humans have lost the game. The problem is that you can play up to 6 players, and at least 2 of the players are actually Cylons, and they are seemingly on your side, and you now have to figure out who's actually against you, while they're secretly voting against crises to try and make you fail. It's quite an amazing experience. It's a lot of paranoia in it. The whole thing you're trying to figure out. And the most amazing thing is like, as in the movie, you might actually not even know you're a Cylon, because halfway in the beginning of the game, you get to choose a loyalty card, and that'll show you whether you're a Cylon or not. But halfway through the game, you get another loyalty card, and you might have been playing for the human side for half the game. And now all of a sudden you find out, whoa, I'm actually a Cylon, and you have to change your whole strategy. So,
oh my god.
Yeah. It's an amazing game, and there's space combat in there as well. You can be a pilot, you can be a mechanic, you can be the commander of the fleet, you can be the president, and it's just so many roles, so many things you can do.
Can I be Gaius Baltar?
You can be Gaius Baltar. And
then I'm happy.
Why am I not?
The problem with Gaius Baltar is that he actually draws extra loyalty cards, so there's a bigger chance of him actually becoming a Cylon. So he has that whole paranoia around him even more than some of the other players, So makes it interesting.
That does sound good.
There are times when people who've watched the show will automatically assume players are Cylons based on which characters they picked. It's funny because we make a joke about it, and often it's actually quite correct.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait. If I remember correctly, it was Chief Starbuck.
Yeah, she was.
What's his name? The CIO or the CO?
The CFO. Yeah. He's one. The guy with the eye patch.
Was he the CFO? Yeah, the eye patch dude. What was his name?
Full time was it?
Yes, Ty or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, it was Chief Tyrell.
And I think Gaius was one as well at the end. And it's a little while ago for me. I watched the entire thing twice, but for the life of me, I can't remember anything right now.
I think I'm gonna have to have a look at that game and pick it up. What kind of price? I'm sure it's not cheap. I mean, being a registered product.
Yeah, thanks to this great exchange rate of ours, I think it's kind of gone up to about close to 900 Rand. But it's money well spent. I'm telling you, it's probably the game that, like I said, I'd go running back into a burning house for that one.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
really an awesome game.
There's also quite a few expansions for it, I believe, now.
Yes, yeah. If the expansions are great, you don't need the expansions.
No, you don't.
There are some gems in the expansions, but some of it are hit and misses. So it's really a thing of what you like. It really has become a sandbox game towards the end of all the expansions. So you can plug and play as you want to. Certain scenarios you can add in, certain mechanics and so on, and so you can streamline the game. What I've actually heard that some like real big fanboys, how they play it is they actually play through the series. So they'll literally play with a base set, and then they will play with the base set in the first expansion, and then they will play, and they'll just add it and play it as a campaign, which is actually, I think, a great way of playing it. I haven't done it
stretch it out over a period of weeks.
Yes, and you just play it as a campaign, and then you get the thrills of all the different variations in the game, which I think is actually, I really still want to try it at some point.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to pick that up at Christmas.
Yeah, me too, eh?
That's a great one.
Thanks, exchange rate.
Yeah, thanks a lot, brother.
I'll give it to my son. I'll be like, there's your one present you're getting. Shit's expensive these days.
But you know what the most amazing thing is? I've got a friend of mine who's in our gaming group. You know, he's got a family of about 4 kids and stuff, and you know, he went and booked the Star Wars tickets, and I think he said the entire bill, really, the evening's going to cost him about 800 or 900 rand with, you know, popcorn and all that kind of stuff, you know. So that's like one evening, you know. So the thing is, like he says, you know, for him it's just so worth it. Buy a game and just play it for weeks on end with his family. You know, he gets to just spend some quality time with his kids, and yeah, everyone has a lot of fun, and it was money well spent.
I'd agree with him 100% on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely thing to do with your family. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah. So right, moving on to brief outline of guys just kind of saying what they've been up to. To be honest, over the last week, the last couple of weeks, depending on how long it's been since everyone's been on the podcast. Kharrak, you were saying. Sorry, Daniel, you were saying earlier on something rather interesting that you just got back from.
Oh yes, X-Wing Nationals were today, and I went. There were about 23 people there. Well, for playing X-Wing specifically, there were another 20 playing Warhammer 40,000. There were another 10 playing Flames of War, and there were some others playing War Machine. I'm not sure how many. So quite a few people, and I came second.
Wow.
So I'm really chuffed.
Well done.
I am now the second highest ranked X-Wing player in Gauteng.
And I think that deserves a golf clap.
Yeah, definitely.
Well done, sir. Well played.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was
Awesome.
a
Congrats,
fantastic experience. I really enjoy X-Wing. And apparently I'm quite good at it.
What is X-Wing?
Oh, goodness.
Well,
X-Wing.
beyond... Okay, sorry. Let me just qualify that. I know what an X-Wing is. Okay. I'm not going to hand back my geek card. I get that, but I'm more in... This is more of a kind of... For those of you at home who may not be aware of the game, kind of a question. On that note, what the fuck is X-Wing?
Right, X-Wing is Fancy Flight's flight path game system, where it takes the famous and quite a few not-so-famous starships from the Star Wars universe and expanded universe, and you fly them against other players. It uses the same mechanics as a game called Wings of War, which is you have specific templates which you use to move around the board, and ships activate in certain order. I can talk about it for quite a while, so I'll try to keep it simple. And it's a very clean and well-designed system. It's also quite quick as well. It's about 45 minutes a game.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I mean, I came out of Warhammer 40,000 and getting into X-Wing because it was just cleaner rules-wise, and quicker and just so much simpler.
Is this the same game that's got the really awesome little models?
Oh god, the models are amazing.
That's what I've heard. I've heard really good things about the miniatures.
We're not entirely sure how Fancy Flight can sell them for so cheap, which is actually interesting. When you can actually divide the people who don't play board games and the people who do play board games, because the people who don't play board games see the ships on the shelf and they complain, like, how can you charge so much for the ship? And the people who do play board games go, how can you charge so little for this ship?
That's always the way. Always the way.
Yeah, I know quite a few people who buy the ships just to have the ship on their shelf. Because the quality is above and beyond a lot of these standalone models that you buy just for shelf to have on your shelf and like that. They look amazing.
And the great thing is that they come pre-painted. You don't have to, like, I think this is the big deterrent for a lot of miniature games. Like, if I wanted to invest into Warhammer, not only did I have to fork out a lot of money to get my first little army, I now have to paint these things. And I think the thing with X-Wing is just that they come pre-painted. They look really awesome. Look, there are guys who are doing amazing jobs repainting them, but it's really not needed. If you're one of those guys that just want to get into the game and you want to play, it's a perfect game to go for. And it's so thematic. It just looks amazing on a board. It's really, I mean, it's probably our best-selling item at the moment. I think
I believe it's
the whole range.
Yeah. I think it's Fancy Flight's biggest selling product.
Well, to give you an idea, I think Christian Peters and the MD, they got asked a question last year at Gen Con, and they asked him, like X-Wing, how well has it sold? So he said, well, let me give you an idea. Everything that we've sold up until now, all our titles combined has not sold as much as X-Wing has over the past year in which it's been released. Yeah, they have a factory in China that basically is dedicated 24 hours a day, just manufacturing the X-Wing product and painting it and getting it out. And they still there's still a shortage. Often there's a shortage. So it's it has not stopped.
There was a period of time where Fancy Flight kept opening or getting new factories to make X-Wing, and they still couldn't keep up with demand.
It was hectic.
Yeah.
I suppose Star Wars Fuhrer is at an all-time high right now. I mean, with the launch of Battlefront, I'm not going to say anything about that because I get in trouble if I say what I really think. With the new movies coming out, I mean, I haven't seen anyone get so excited about this. I mean, I've got my sister and her husband are coming over at Christmas, so we've got tickets booked for myself, him, my son, and my father. So the four of us, so the three generations are all going to be at the cinema watching this movie together. And I think it's a bit of a competition over who's more excited right now. And I think Grandpa's taking it. I've got to be honest. I think he's the most excited. It's crazy.
We are on the verge of this whole Star Wars explosion at the moment. I think it's just gonna get big over the next few years.
Yeah, the Star Wars branding has definitely helped X-Wing, but it also helps that X-Wing itself is a fantastic game.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's its bigger cousin or bigger brother, you want to call it, Star Wars Armada, which where X-Wing is a game where you're literally just doing ship combat like dogfights, that kind of thing, small squads. Armada now takes it and even zooms out more, and now you've got like the actual cruisers and stuff, and you've got a whole fleet of spaceships. And
I can get into that.
Fleet commander. Yeah, you're absolute fleet commander, and you got to think 3 moves ahead with your cruisers and and actually decide your actions 3 moves ahead, what you're gonna do. And it is just I'm really enjoy Armada, I must say. And there's wave 2 of that is actually Kharrak, you're probably going to be quite happy. I think it's landing on Monday.
Wow, yes.
We would have had it sooner, but thanks to America for Thanksgiving, and it's kind of messed things up a bit. But yeah, we're going to have it on Monday in Cape Town, unpack it and get it out to stores by the weekend next week.
I'm excited, but I'm also equal part terrified. Because I'm splitting Wave 2 with a friend of mine, and I'm still paying over 2,500 Rand for Wave 2.
It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, that sounds a bit ouch.
Frightening amount of plastic I'm buying for Armada.
And are those painted or are those not painted? The Armada ones.
They're pre-painted. They like X-Wing.
So that's all pre-painted. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so just for me, for interest's sake, like I love painting miniatures. I paint them. I don't play Warhammer 40k anymore. I still play a little bit of D&D, so I basically just buy random figurines for that, just to keep things interesting. But because I love the process of painting, it's kind of like a weird kind of zen thing for me.
Well, we've got guys who are actually, like I said, repainting the ships down here in Cape Town, and my goodness, some of these guys are coming up with some amazing ships. So it's very possible, I mean, you really look at just the basic paint job of it, and it looks amazing, and then guys come and they just totally outdo it, and it's like, wow.
One of the things I love is the people who put LED lights in their ship engines for Armada.
Wow.
I may have had a little nerdgasm right
then. Those Star Destroyers from behind those LED lights looks beautiful.
Wow. Wow. No, that's cool.
How big are we talking? If you're looking at, let's say, a Star Destroyer in the Armada game, how big a miniature are we talking here? I mean, is it like maybe a foot or half a foot?
10 centimeters, I think, maybe more. Kharrak, 10, 15.
I don't have a ruler on me.
I'm just guessing now.
It depends which variant of Star Destroyer you're talking about. The core set doesn't come with the iconic Star Destroyer, the Imperial class destroyer. It comes with the Victory class, which is a bit smaller. That's about 5 inches, maybe 5 inches long. So I'm using my wargaming measurement skills here. I have no idea how to measure in
100%.
centimeters.
So how do they manage to... Where do they put in a power supply for the LED? I mean, do they like cut the thing open and
They do
store
cut
a
it
battery
open, yes.
inside, and then so a little battery inside,
Yeah.
like a little 9-volt or something with a little LED?
I know at least one person did actually cut it open, because the way the Star Destroyers are made in the factory, it's 2 halves which are put over each other. So they just cut it open again, and I think it's hollow inside, or I'm not entirely sure. But they hide the little batteries in there.
Oh, that's special. I really want to see that now.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm gonna have to have a bit of a search for it.
Yeah.
Mr. Morris,
Yes,
are you okay there, buddy?
I'm alive.
Okay, because you're a Star Wars fan. And
Yeah,
I'm just confused.
I'm actually like entirely talked out about Star Wars. Like, at this point, everyone's been asking me about it, and what am I thinking about Luke and everything. I'm just like, at this point, like, I just want to see the damn movie now. Like, the 16th just has to come on now. That's basically the point I am on now. Don't want
I'd
to
like
write
my dog to stop trying to kill someone outside my window. That would be nice. Oh, can you hear that? Sorry.
Yeah, we could live stream that. There we go.
Yeah.
Live stream.
Sorry
Mikey gets
about
killed
that.
on air.
Yeah, it'll be all right. It's only a Rottweiler. I'll be fine. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, it is pretty much everywhere these days.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You can't go outside your house without having someone go on about, oh yeah, Star Wars. You know, and it's most of the time not even these big fans. Like, before the Episode 7 movie was announced, no one gave a shit about Star Wars. And all of a sudden, you're getting these people coming out of the bloody woodwork. It's like, no, we watched it, we watched it. Like, all right, tell me what happened to Luke's hand then. Like, we don't know. You know?
Yeah, look, I think what's happened is, and it's exciting in a sense, is that, you know, the whole geek culture. I mean, you used to be, you know, like the outcast, and now you're actually like the cool guy. It's
it's becoming a norm.
Amazing that it's become the norm, and geek culture has become mainstream culture, which is really interesting because you're kind of wondering what's going to become the exclusive culture. You know, it's really interesting the way society has changed around that. You know, where everyone now considers themselves a geek. You know, and you know the diehard geeks that were there at first are kind of saying exactly what you're saying now. It's like, well, yeah, you call yourself a geek, but you're not really a geek, you know.
Yeah.
But
you didn't suffer like we suffered. You haven't earned the right.
Yeah, but the thing is that I think the amazing thing there is that I think we should welcome it. You know, we should welcome the fact that because this is good for us. It's good for the hobby, and all different hobbies, whether it's computer gaming or board gaming or whatever. I think that the interest will lead people back to our hobbies, and I think most of us aren't so elitist that we don't, that we won't welcome the fact that, I mean, it would be amazing if every family, if every boy and dad in South Africa ends up playing, X-Wing. It'll be amazing. I think it'll just do so much for gaming. And I think the thing is with just paralleling that even to, when you get the Star Wars games coming out now on the consoles and computer and stuff, it's just creating an interest in gaming again. And the two, I think, it goes hand in hand. I think a lot of guys look at board gaming and computer gaming as almost like on polar opposites. And if you do one, you should hate the other one. And we get that a lot when we do stuff at Rage, for instance. You get a lot of computer gamers still kind of walk past and kind of sneer at the board game stand kind of thing, And I think what guys don't realize is that both have got a lot of merit to it, and more and more we're seeing people that are doing both. A lot of computer gamers are moving over to board gaming, and a lot of board gamers are playing computer games. So I think it's great. I think once that stigma goes away, and I think this is, this whole explosion in the geek market is going to do away with that stigma, which I think is awesome.
I'd agree with you on that one. I'm a big fan. I am someone who lives quite happily with a foot in each world. Of PC gaming or rather computer gaming, video gaming, and board gaming. And there's times I don't want to play a computer game. I don't want to run around and get my face blown off 75 times in a row by a 12-year-old who has carnal knowledge of my mother in Call of Duty. Don't necessarily want that all the time. Sometimes I'd like to have a nice, quiet sit down in a game with a couple of friends of mine on a Friday, Saturday evening, whatever, have a couple of beers, talk some shit, and hack each other apart with large implements in a game setting.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's I definitely applaud it.
And I think you're hitting upon something there because, you know, I believe that's kind of why this resurgence in board gaming is so huge, because we've as a society, we've really started isolating ourselves. I mean, we stare at screens the whole day, whether it's your cell phone or at work, your computer screen, or, you know, at home, if it's console or TV or something. I mean, everything we do is just based around a screen. And, you know, and you've isolated around that, even though there is a social aspect and you get online gaming and so on. I mean, you don't see your opponent face to face. You know, you don't get to do, you know, that jab across the table. And I think that's the allure of board gaming, or I mean, rather say tabletop gaming, because there's so much more than just board gaming out there. But you know, just the very fact that you can, I mean, I can just think of the comments and stuff that we throw at each other across the table, you know, and it's just the interplay of just sizing up your opponent, you know, bluffing a little bit or trying to intimidate them, or, you know, it's just checking the body language and just being able to have a fun time. You know, someone makes a stupid mistake and you can just jab him for it or whatever. You know, it's just, it's just so, it's such an amazing social experience that you just don't get from modern electronic media, you know, and that's great. I mean, you know, if I want to, it's like I've got this thing about how I game. If I want to do solo gaming, if I just want to sort of switch off and I want to play, I'll go play consoles. Because that's my time just to be alone, to unwind and just have a little adventure of my own. I don't really do a lot of online or any multiplayer kind of gaming when it comes to electronic kind of gaming, but I kind of save my multiplayer experience for board games. At the same time, like, there's a lot of board games where you can do solo, and it just doesn't appeal to me, you know. For me, board games is all about the social aspect and actually having fun with your friends and so on. So
absolutely. So, I don't think I could. I mean, there was what was it? These box sets that you can get for Dungeons and Dragons. So I mean, I'm a nerd. I'm a massive nerd. I always have been. I always will be. But I'd never really gotten into Dungeons and Dragons, and I decided that it was time. And I started. And I played a little campaign with some friends of mine, probably about 6-7 years ago, and then recently started another one with some good friends of mine. So we've got now 5 people in the party, and the DM, and we go around. But there's these these box sets. So like what's it, like Legend of Drizzt or something? So
yes, yeah.
But you can play them solo.
Yeah.
And while it's like a nice thing to have, like, you'd be missing out on so much. Like, I would fully, if anyone is out there who is playing any of these box sets and playing it solo, 100%, it doesn't matter, even if you are slightly embarrassed about the fact that you like Dungeons and Dragons, because let's be honest, it's not the kind of thing that, like, you know, when you meet someone, they're like, what do you like to do? You're like, hey, I like to play Dungeons and Dragons. They're like, cool, I'll be over there at the bar talking to other people. So you know, so don't get embarrassed about it. You will find the people who like to play it, and you'll have the best times. Like, we constantly rib on the guy, one of our guys, our wizard called Josh, because one, he's a wizard, not a sorcerer, like an idiot. I don't know why he rolled a wizard. So we're like, yeah, nice spell book, you idiot. Hey, now, oh look, we have to rest again so you can replenish your spells. Thanks. And also because it doesn't matter what's happening. You could literally have just killed a demon prince, which happened to us a little while ago. We took down a demon prince. Within 3 seconds of the thing falling down, he was trying to roll for loot. Like, it's immediate. Like, it doesn't even matter if he was involved in the fight. If he was just sat at the back throwing the occasional magic missile, he's like, yo, that loot's mine, it's all mine. And but then, you know, if we go out for a beer, I met them out for beers the other day, and we still give him shit about that. You know, it's a great social experience.
No, I agree 100%. I know with one board game which I've played so much, the box has actually deteriorated entirely. There's no box anymore. We played, it became a common thing where one of our players, we would wait until the point he would start swearing. Not at us, just at the situation that he'd found himself in. Because we knew he was a good player, and we always moved against him knowing that. And eventually, at every point in time, he'd just sit there and start going, shit. Shit. And we loved it because we always timed it. And I love board gaming because it's also a great way of getting to know people in a certain way, because you actually interact with them. You actually see them think and interact with you as well. And role playing as well. I mean, I think about 2 weeks ago we finished a 3-year-long campaign in role playing.
Wow.
And that was fantastic. We were also very lucky because everyone who started the campaign was actually carried on throughout it, which is nearly unheard of.
Wow, yeah, absolutely.
And it was a fantastic way to end. And even then, we had situations where we laugh at people. We had an elven ranger who was not very good at being a ranger at all. I was a monk. And at the start of the campaign, we were having these festivities and partaking in competitions, and I beat him at ranged activities
nice.
as a monk against a ranger. And he was also, unfortunately, very gullible. So, as in one example, we were in a haunted house, and there was a door, and there was moaning, and I went to him, "Why don't you go in first?" And he went, "Okay, I'm quite happy to do that." Opened the door, got possessed, ran past us screaming, jumped out of a window on a second-story mansion that was on the cliff, jumped out on the cliff side. And that happened all the time, and it was fantastic, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
you know what it is?
It's fun.
I think, and this is what just on another class I was listening the other day, where I was just saying that the beauty of board game or tabletop gaming is the emergent kind of experiences that are coming out at the moment. Sort of like where games allow you to create memories, and I think that's the most amazing thing. Where things just happen in such a way, and just it's just never going to happen like that again in a game. But just the way the order which the cards are played just creates this memory moments of like oh my goodness, you should have been there when we did this and that happened. I still remember a game of Last Night on Earth that we played that was just ended like this absolute movie moment where we were just stuck in this little house, and and we had to get out. The zombies were surrounding us, and we're like in Last Night on Earth, you got till dawn. If you haven't killed 15 zombies by dawn, then that's it, And so we're like on our second last turn, and we're like, we're going to go out there, we're going to throw a gas canister out, and we're going to just, shoot it. We'll kill all the zombies around us, and we're out of there and stuff. And then the zombies, there were 2 zombie players. They actually played the Last Night on Earth card, which basically, it just means that if the guy and girls in the same spot, they decide this is their last night on Earth, and nothing happens.
No.
You lose your turn. So we're like, darn, So now we got a problem, because we're down to our last turn, because we were gonna like just send the nurse out, and she was going to take the gas canister and come back in. We're going to shoot the thing, and now we can't. So what we do? We're just going to chase her outside. She's going to take one for the team with the gas canister. We're going to blow the whole thing up, and we'll be safe. And as we do that, zombies play a locked door card, and we are screwed. And we just imagine like fade to black as you try to open the door. Door went up, and the zombies start coming through the doors and the windows and the stuff. And it's just these kind of experiences that you kind of just can talk about afterwards and say, well, wow, that was just so amazing.
I must applaud the commitment of the male and female player for consummating that Last Night on Earth card in the middle of a hallway thrill. It was like, we've got this plan. Hang on, I'm busy. I've got something I need to take care of quickly.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's just the thing. And like in all these games, Battlestar Galactica, all of those things, I mean, I remember a Battlestar Galactica game that we played that we were down to, I think like something like 3 or 4 more roll in like the second round or something, and it was just like, we're not going to do this. I mean, there's no ways we can do it. And we just said, okay, guys, come on. We're just going to buckle down. We're going to make this work. And we won the game as humans. It was just an insane game of there was just tension, from the second round. There was just tension, and those kind of experiences, you can't replace it. You can't replace it with a movie or anything like that, because you lived it at that moment, and it kind of got just seared into your imagination, and you remember it as a memory, basically, and that is...
Well, I clearly remember 7 years ago, so this D&D session I ran with some friends, I was DMing, and I'd set up this cool little campaign to get them started, and it was, they had to go and basically kill Iron Tooth, and I don't know if anyone knows that particular module, but it's this kind of orc, goblin, chieftain kind of guy. And I've never seen anyone roll so many crits so fast. Like about halfway through what we'd put aside for the session, I was like, okay, you've done everything that I'd planned for tonight. What the fuck is going on? Like the dwarf warrior. No, first of all, I think the mage spotted a secret door, which and they went up and it basically went straight into Iron Tooth's bedchamber from the room. They'd done some fighting and all that, and then they found the secret door and it went straight up into his bedchamber where he was sleeping. And then the dwarf fighter, who I think had like -3 or 4 to stealth, snuck up to him, or tried to, and just said, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to try." Critted the roll, so snuck right up to him, and then hit him with his most powerful daily attack and critted that as well. And it was like, bang, 60-something damage, Iron Tooth dead, congratulations, module's done. Cool. And 7 years later, I can still see exactly, because I always remember him shouting, "Reaping strike," and throwing his dice and getting a 20. And I'll never forget that.
It sucks though when the reverse happens.
Oh yeah,
lucked out. I remember a particular bad game of Arcadia Quest where I just kept on rolling blanks the whole time through the game. Eventually I was like, what's the point? You guys carry on without me, So you get good experiences, you get bad experiences, but overall it's so much fun playing. There's just no other form of entertainment for me that quite gets close to it. Just from the experiences you have.
And it's also interesting seeing the legacy games that are coming out more and more.
Yes.
It's the first board games that actually have spoilers. And those are very much about one-of-a-time experiences.
Mm.
Like which ones?
No, Eugene, you can go. Sorry. You can go.
I'll go. Well, basically, Legacy started with a game called Risk Legacy, and Risk Legacy really was a game where what you did had lasting, impact on the game state. Like, for instance, if you decided to nuke Australia stayed nuked. You'd put a big nuke sticker on Australia, and Australia was gone.
Nice.
You would, for instance, you would get an option that's to say at the end of this scenario, if you made a choice, there are 2 packs of cards in envelopes in the game box. Choose one. The other one you're going to tear up. It will, it's not part of the game anymore. And and now what they've done is that creator has now teamed up with Matt Leacock, who did Pandemic. Pandemic is one of the classic sort of games where viruses are, sort of spreading across the earth, and you actually have to stop it as a team of medical specialists. And they've just one-upped that with Pandemic Legacy. So what you've got a game where, it's really real, because your medical guys can die. It's things are going to happen. It's different strains of viruses will mutate, and crazy things will happen, and those will be lasting effects. So every choice you make has got this weight to it. And I haven't played it yet, but a couple of my friends have started playing it, and the guys are just absolutely raving about it. They just, I have this one gamer friend of mine who was very skeptical about it, and he was just totally blown away by the experience.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on.
No, I'm just saying it's just amazing. Such a new concept. There's another game called Time Stories, which is a similar concept where you're going to buy the base game and you're going to play a scenario that's going to take you like 4 or 5 hours to play, but it's also kind of spoiler driven. So once you finish that scenario, you're probably not going to play it again. So it's very much almost becomes like a computer game in that sense. You're forking out money for something you're going to play once, but the experience is so amazing. And then there are add-on packs that allows you to use the basic game board, but now you've got scenarios that will, every time will be a 4 or 5 hour play experience. And it's just a new evolution of board gaming, and guys are absolutely loving it. You'd think that the kind of game where you have to tear up cards and or only play once would be sort of like a negative thing, but it seems to be people are absolutely loving it. But yeah, Kharrak, you wanted to say?
Yes, I have Pandemic Legacy. We are starting a campaign, though none of us have really played the original Pandemic. So we've decided on a few dry runs before we get started. But it is interesting. I am being the person who owns a Pandemic Legacy, and the only one who's actually comfortable tearing up cards and writing on the board with permanent marker as the game requires. And everyone else is freaking out about it. But I'm really excited about that type of experience. The fact that if certain situations are met, you take your character card and you have to tear it up because
like that's it. Man's dead. He's gone.
He's gone. The fact that you can certain cities, if they break out, they are permanently damaged for the rest of the time you ever play that game. That city will be damaged. It can get more damage in the future, and it's a very interesting approach to board games. I know a lot of people are worried because it limits replayability, but honestly, when you realize that you don't actually play your games as much as you think you do, it's actually more than enough in terms of replay, in terms of, I don't know, how much you get out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pandemic Legacy, for instance, I think they're saying that it can be up to 23 sessions that you'll play to finish that game. So, I mean, that's a lot you get into that, you know. And anyway, when you look at computer games as well, I mean, there are very few computer games or electronic games that I play more than once, you know. There are a few. But generally, if I'm playing a sort of a solo adventure kind of game, you've played it through once, and that's it, you know. So it's really that. And I've also a lot of gaming groups, what they've decided to do now is instead of one guy forking out for the game, everyone kind of pays almost like a entrance fee, which almost allows them to, or participation fee, which commits them to that process as well, you know. So then it doesn't feel that bad, you know, if everyone's giving $200 bucks towards the game or whatever, you know. It makes it more bearable to be able to tear the card at the end of the day. But I mean, I just like that permanence. I mean, I'm so looking forward to playing it because I want to be able to tear that card up. I want to feel that weight of like, if I don't save this guy, he's
that's it.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like I haven't had that experience yet. You know, I mean, like
neither have I. This is my first.
Yeah, and if you play a normal board game, obviously, I mean, it's, you know, if the guy dies, he's dead for that game, and the next time you play it, he's back. You know, but just that permanency. Wow, I think it's just so amazing.
It's like it's like quick save functions in games.
Yeah,
I hate them because people will often, like, you know, you're in so Fallout 4 recently. I'm a big fan of Fallout 4, and I was playing Nick Valentine's kind of backstory mission, and there's a bit where I have to. Oh no, it wasn't Nick Valentine. It was the Silver Shroud side missions, and there's a guy that I have to save. Saving the guy. Yeah. But the problem that I have is it gives you an option to you can quick save before that happens. So if he dies, you can just reload it. And I actually saw a couple of times, like, people in conversations with NPCs, if they, say, wanted to try and intimidate or something, they'd quick save, try and intimidate, oh, didn't work, load. Intimidate, didn't work, load, intimidate, oh, it worked this time. And I hate that. Like,
save's coming.
You need gravitas for you. You know, your decisions should have consequences. Otherwise, what's the point?
Now, but for interest's sake, did you manage to save that guy?
I did. I got super lucky.
Yeah, that's very lucky. I couldn't save him at all. Like, I even, like, popped a bunch of drugs and stuff, slowed down time, everything. I couldn't get all the guys before they shot him because my charisma is, like, fucking 0. So yeah, he's dead. Which sucks for me because
I had a full crit bar.
Oh,
well. Full crit bar, and I had a fully upgraded assault rifle. Not like a rapid fire one, like a single shot, but that does stupid levels of damage. And I hit my perception is really high, so it was like it was 95% chances to hit on the guy's head, and I just popped that main guy's head off and then knocked the rest of them down quite quickly.
Oh, that's good.
So I was just very, very fortunate, and I didn't realize how many people he had died for until afterwards, when I was like, oh my god, that was such an awesome mission. Like, I loved the whole Silver Shroud storyline. It was fantastic. But the being able to quick save, or in the case of a tabletop game, just being able to play again next week and, oh, look, that dude's back. Yeah, you miss that weight to your decisions, that I really fucked up. Like, I didn't just fuck up and this guy's dead and this turn's going to be a bit harder. It's, no, he's gone forever. He is never coming back.
Everyone forever is going to remember that. Because they can see the card is torn with your name on it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, even you burn it, stick it in a little metal dustbin, set fire to it. It's gone. He is dead. Never coming back. I love it. I think that's great.
Now, the other thing the legacy games do quite well is it's not just the permanency of your choices or the results of your choices. It's also, there's a very nice sense of mystery. a large part of the game is actually locked away until you've managed to achieve certain things in certain games. And you have no idea what's in those parcels. And that's also fantastic because I want to play the game so I know what's in box number 8. For example, if you lose the game 4 times in a row, you open box number 8. I have no idea what's in there.
But you know.
Yeah, and that's fantastic as well.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
But okay, so yeah, there's a hell of a lot going on in the board game industry, and it's fantastic to see. What about the board gaming industry specifically in South Africa? How are we growing? I mean, are we seeing an increase in the amount of people who are kind of coming on board? From everything I can see, I would say that yes, we should be in my mind, but from someone as an industry insider, what kind of things are we seeing?
Yeah, look, well, we're at SkyCastle. We're growing faster than we can even keep up with at the moment. It is actually ridiculous. We've seen this thing go from a really small kind of operation 5 years ago to where it's now. We've got like 5 staff members, and it's just really expanded. And I mean, we just kind of sort of standing back and saying, "Oh my goodness, where's this going to end?" And the amount of games that actually moves out here, especially now over the Christmas period, but even just generally throughout the year. I mean, I was just actually, my wife Elizabeth, she runs a company with me, and I was just remarking to her like yesterday that I'm just blown away by the amount of games going out there, and the fact that stores are reordering, as quickly as they order the first time and stuff, and it just shows that people are actually buying these games. They're not just sitting on shelves. People are investing in this hobby, and it's just growing. Look, internationally, it's growing, and I think we're following trends. We're seeing, like the participation at conventions like Rage and so on. I mean, we're seeing a lot of guys, being very positive about it. Like I mentioned, you still get some computer gamers who kind of sneer at it, but overall, you've got people are so into it, and we're seeing also we started doing business with Takealot and about a year ago, and we're seeing that the amount of units they're moving is also incredible. They are definitely tapping into a market that that we haven't tapped into as of yet, and I think what's happening is that, especially on their daily deals and things like that, that mail goes out to like a couple of 100,000 people, and I think almost, whenever they do deals like that, I mean, there is a huge market that's never heard of board games before. They're actually seeing them for the first time and going, oh, cool, let me try this out. And I just think we're in this resurgence at this moment, and I don't think we've hit the ceiling by a long shot yet.
More people in Cape Town? Do you ship more units around Cape Town or more up to Joburg?
Joburg is still our biggest market. I think it always will be. It can be an expensive hobby, and as we all know, the money is in Joburg. But having said that, the Cape Town market has grown a lot. There's a lot of passionate board gamers in Cape Town. There's a lot of initiatives happening all over the place. The stores down here are very committed. There are guys doing sort of blogs and websites and stuff, and WhatsApp groups and all kinds of stuff that's just showing the signs of a very healthy community. We've done events here at our warehouse where we're like over 60 people show up. When the Edge convention or the Expo happened earlier this year, I mean, we were blown away by the amount of people who just showed up at our stand and were buying board games and stuff, and we were like not expecting it. We were like, where have you Cape Townians been all this time?
Hiding away.
Well, at the houses that's pretty normal, but I mean,
there we go.
hiding away. So it's an amazing. I mean, I'm feeling incredibly, just privileged to be in this market at the moment. Just to be able to see what's happening around us, and I'm so excited for it. And we just really, sort of amped to see what we can do next, and how we can grow this thing even more, and just get. I mean, when we started SkyCastle, I mean, my sort of mantra or mission statement was that we're not here to sell board games. We're here to build a board game culture, and that's always been our first thing. Is whatever we do is this building a board game culture, and if the answer is yes, then we're doing the right thing. And because my philosophy has always been that the sales will follow in the wake of a board game culture. So I think that'll always be our first passion, to see that happen, to see people just get tuned into board games.
I think the events have obviously got to help a hell of a lot. I mean, there's so many more events going on. I mean, we have got Rage down here soon. For is it the first time?
Yes,
it's happening in Cape Town. It's the first time in Cape Town. Yeah, I mean, these things they must really help to kind of just get people together, and also just to put the product in a place where they're going to see it. I mean, if there are a computer gamer who, let's be direct, probably doesn't leave their house all that often, then they're not gonna see the board game that they like, because they're not going to see anything beyond their monitor unless they happen to open up a website to do some online shopping or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, and this is the other way, and this is how I seg like a ninja into another topic, or if they subscribe to Geek Crate.
Yes.
Because you guys are now involved with Geek Crate, I understand.
Exactly. We're also sponsoring some stuff in there. So we're really excited for that partnership. And we'll continue to see what we can provide and help the guys out with. I think it's a really great idea, and obviously I think the problem we face with these kind of crates is that our product is very expensive. But we're chatting to the guys, from Geek Crate, and saying, how can we help them? What can we put in there? Or
you can't put a whole board game in.
Yeah, you can't put a whole board game in. You can't put a card in.
That'd be nice.
So
tell you what, you can put one board game in one of the boxes that says for Pikey on it, and then just make sure that they've got that and they know where to send it, and then we're good. Then we're hundreds.
Or we can do one of those things where they used to build your own ship, or build your own board game. So this week we'll put a dice in, next week we'll put one card in, and over 2 years you'll have a fully functional board game.
You're like, yes, I got that card I needed. Yeah. Man, don't even go there. I've got that. That's bad enough. I started playing Pokemon with my son recently, and I
saw the picture on Facebook.
Oh, dude, it's so nice. So we rebuilt his deck today because I let him build his deck, and it was a mess. He's got fairy and darkness, dark energy Pokemon in there, but no energy for them. And I'm like, why'd you put them in there? No, I really like him. Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Yeah,
so
got to power him, So.
Yeah, it's just another thing that I'm going to end up collecting along with Pokemon figurines, and then in 2 years' time I'll have a completed board game.
There you go.
You were mentioning.
So
Werner, you said nothing, Werner. Please say something. I'll be happy.
What?
Sorry?
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to say...
Werner is... Sorry.
I was going to say I have some old cards you could have if you drive to Bloemfontein.
Damn, dude, that's a long way. A friend of mine gave me a box of about 200 of the bloody things. I think he's got enough to last him for the rest of his life.
About there. I've got holographic Mewtwo and stuff like that, collector's edition stuff.
Yeah, I might take a drive.
Yeah.
Well, one of them might be worth the petrol, yeah.
That was actually quite valuable, because you see, originally when I was a kid, I was out to collect these cards, but I never played with them. And I already understood the value of a holographic. So what I did was I put them all in little bank baggies. So they're really well preserved. So I've got this holographic Mewtwo that I see is quite valuable, because it was only ever released with the original VHS release of Pokemon the movie 2000.
It's pretty worth something, yeah.
Yeah, so it was only released with that video, and of course, I bought the video because I was Pokemon before back then. So I've got all these cards laying around. So I'm looking for a taker there. So Pikey,
no one go and rob Mr. Morris's house before I. Once I picked up the cards, do what you fucking want. Take all this shit. I don't care. As long as I've got his cards first, then we're good. We're hundreds.
But it's quite
Sorry, Eugene, you were going to jump in.
It's quite interesting talking about collectible card games. That's obviously, I think, where the hobby really started for a lot of people. I think it started in two places. A lot of guys were playing role-playing like D&D and that kind of thing. Other guys did the whole Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, that kind of vibe. And a lot of guys coming to the point, because I think the one problem about collectible card games is that it gets very expensive. So we've noticed the trend that, like there comes a point in someone's sort of life journey where they actually just realize, I can't buy every booster pack anymore. It's just getting crazy expensive. I've just bought a car and I've got a house and stuff like that, so I just can't do that kind of thing anymore. So then the guys start gravitating towards board games, and because it's more of a contained thing,
single set cost. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. But what's also really amazing is the new kind of, when we're talking about new trends in board games, is something that Fantasy Flight, which for those who guys don't know, Fantasy Flight is probably the biggest board game company, well, not the biggest board game company in the world, but specifically for those kind of themed, sort of, as they actually call it, the Merry Trash kind of like action kind of games where you're living the adventure and so on. They came up with a gaming system called the Living Card Game, which really is like a collectible card game in the sense that it's expandable and you will be buying packs and so on, but they're not blind packs. So you buy the core set, you play the game, and now you want to add some cards to your decks. You will, once every 2 months or whatever, they've got a booster or like a deck of cards. They come out, exactly what cards are in there, and you then have a choice, obviously, if you want to add those cards into your collection or not. But it just takes that randomness and spending of fortune. There's no card is more valuable than the next because it's quite easy to get.
There's no rarity.
There's no rarity in it at all. It's just you choose the cards because you want to build a deck that's great. And so they've got the Netrunner gaming system like that, which is actually growing a lot in South Africa at the moment. They just launched the Game of Thrones one, the second edition, which we're also kind of trying to push quite a lot. And they've got a Star Wars version as well. They've got a couple of different ones, but it's also a really new kind of evolving gaming system, and other companies are starting to sort of imitate that as well. There's a game called Ashes, that's Rise of the Phoenix one, that's coming out from a really nice up-and-coming gaming company called Plaid Hat. A lot of guys are really excited about that one, and we actually also, I think that's flying in next week as well. And there's a couple of companies who are now starting to use that model. So I think we're going to see a lot more of that happening in the future as well. Maybe a move away from collectible stuff that costs you a whole bunch of money to something that you can contain a little bit more. So I'm very excited about that. The other trend as well, if you look at, especially like, trying to sort of capture the attention of the console and computer gamers, is just a lot of games that they're trying to make board game versions of games, and some of those are actually even being designed by the guys who created the actual electronic versions of the games.
Follow Monopoly.
Yep.
Yeah. But even more so, you get stuff like you had the BioShock game that came out, which was a very underrated game. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. There was a Gears of War game that came out that Fantasy Flight did, which was really amazing.
It was really good, yeah.
Yeah, very, very good game. There was an XCOM game that Fantasy Flight released recently, which is an amazing game because it actually it incorporated technology. So it was a real-time game. It's not sort of like a dungeon crawler or something like the normal XCOM game where you just got your little guy and he's running around with his team. You actually are a team of guys, and like your one's a scientist, the one's a general, and so on. And you're sitting around this board, and the aliens are invading the world, and everything runs real time off your tablet or your cell phone. And when the next wave runs, it tells you, okay, aliens have invaded Russia or whatever, and there you go, and you got to place them down there, and the general's got to decide, where we can do this and when we're going to spend funds, and the scientists are trying to create new technology, and all of this is happening simultaneously, and you're trying to just overcome this threat. And there are other games like Alchemist as well that uses like cell phone technology as well when you're trying to create potions and so on. And so I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I actually read on the internet yesterday, I can't remember the name of the game now, but it's also a computer. It's I think it's an MMORP, that they're actually doing a board game. The actual designers of the game is doing a board game, and they're designing the game in such a way that you actually there's no rule book. From the moment you unpack the game, you learn to play the game as you go along, and it'll also be taking you back to electronic format as well. So there are a lot of ways that board games are integrating and trying to also, reach out to the electronic gamer market and say, hey, come try this out. So I think we're going to see a lot of interesting developments in the tabletop thing as well. And
so
I think
Sorry, carry on. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, and just a lot of new ideas and a lot of merging, crossing of boundaries and stuff. I think we're going to see a lot of that still.
Yeah. So I heard about the XCOM game from Megan Hughes, who's from a board game company down here in Cape Town, and she was saying that she's played it and she was absolutely raving about it. So that's definitely one I need to keep my eye out for.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun with that one as well. It's interesting that a lot of the co-op games have an issue called alpha player syndrome, where one player who's experienced will tell other players exactly what they need to do. So the other players are playing via him. With XCOM, you can't do that because you're too busy panicking about your own little area to pay attention to anyone else.
Nice.
I really enjoy XCOM, and we've actually managed to beat the game on easy, which is fantastic.
Yay!
That's more impressive once you've actually played the game and seen how punishing it is.
I'm sure. Cool. All right. Well, okay. So there's definitely a hell of a lot of good stuff going on. I'm trying to get more and more into the board game or tabletop gaming world than I am. I am predominantly typing away on my little keyboard here in front of my PC, but I'm making the effort. Especially having a kid helps, because I get to do all the stuff that I want to do, but everyone's like, why are you doing that? You're a grown-ass man. And you're like, no, you don't understand. I'm doing it because I'm doing it with my son. Which is like Pokemon. They're like, people are like, you're 35 years old, what are you doing with a set of Pokemon cards? Sorry, my kid, It's fantastic. Cool. Okay, well, listen, I think we're pretty much coming up to an hour now. I think it's probably about time that we start thinking about winding things down. Couple of little things I want to mention. We have launched a new Geeky Goods section on the website. I did a little unboxing video for my Geek Crate. We have got a new writer on staff as well who will be appearing in next week's podcast, the lovely in brackets, Harlequin. aka Lauren Melnick. So she will be joining Mr. Morris and myself and another special guest next week. So that should be something interesting to look out for. I think that's pretty much just about everything from my side. I mean, there's not a hell of... Oh, yes, there's one thing that really pissed me off last night. Black Friday, I missed. So I decided to go for slightly turquoise Saturday. And I bought a whole bunch of stuff for 75% off on Steam. And I noticed something that I hadn't noticed up till now. Since they changed Steam to Rands, you can no longer pay for things with PayPal.
Yeah. That sucks, doesn't it?
It's so bad. I cannot believe it happened. So, yeah, I was just... Now I have to input my credit card details directly rather than using the nice... I quite like the stopgap method of using PayPal because it kind of just gives me that break between... Exactly. Gives me that. So Steam doesn't have my credit card details floating around. The only person who does is PayPal, and their security is second to none. So, it's a bit of a shit one, that. Rainbow Six second beta is currently in progress. I don't know if anyone here has played the first one or is busy with the second one.
I am currently playing the beta.
What do you think of it?
I was brought in. I'm playing with people who did play the closed beta. I am terrible at it, but it is a lot of fun. The main issue, however, is, as far as I know, there only are the 3 maps and only the single game mode. So don't actually know how much more to the game there is. So I don't know if I like the game overall, but I've had a lot of fun with it.
Okay, cool. That's pretty much the exact opposite of my experience in the closed beta. I hated it. I thought it was awful.
Oh, really?
I really did. I felt like I picked my character and I was that dude with the big sledgehammer from the UK and I was like, rah, bash all the doors. And then I just felt like this really slow but really, really bullet absorbing person who, it's like, you've got all this armor. You still fucking die within 3 seconds because a suicide bomber jumps out of a doorway and blows your face off.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, well, you know what? At the end of the day, this armor doesn't matter. Take a quicker person, lighter armor, and be a bit more nimble, bit lighter on your feet. And I still felt like I was wading through molasses. I was like, okay, I'd like to get to that door in under 25 seconds, seeing as I'm less than a meter away from it. And they're just like, I'm gonna come. Don't worry, little hostages. We'll save you in approximately 7.8 minutes. Because I didn't enjoy that, and it irritated me, and it kind of just turned me off about the whole thing. So maybe I should.
Rainbow Six is not for everyone. I found I also don't care for it, and I'm a pretty hardcore gamer, and I just don't care for the style of play or the game in general. Like any of the games, I never really got into any of them. I guess it's just person specific. You either like it or you don't.
Well, in my case, it was also the friends I was playing with, so we did actually work together as a team really nicely.
Well, that does help.
Yeah. Whereas the guys that I generally play with in a group, we say we're going to work together in a group.
I think you know.
One guy's off in the corner, like taking screenshots because he's an absolute nut for screenshots. And like we're like, dude, can you come help? He's like, yo, just hold on, I got to get this, like frame this flower just right. We're like, come on. And everyone else pretty much just.
Why does he sound like Sean Connery?
I didn't want to admit it, but Sean Connery is one of my close gaming friends. You can often find us playing Rocket League together, particularly.
Right.
Yeah, he likes to hit the aerials, don't you know? But yeah, so that is currently in open beta, I think now. So if you have got an interest in it, like we said, myself and Morris, not huge fans. Kharrak, Daniel enjoyed it immensely with friends, so that might be an important caveat. Play with a group of friends who are going to play well together. Give it a try in open beta, and then it should be released in the next couple of months, I think. Only other games news I've got from my side is really Paladins is currently in closed beta. It's a very interesting first-person shooter / MOBA, so it's kind of imagine League of Legends or something like that, but from a first-person perspective. And they've got this interesting card system where as you go through the game you unlock cards which are kind of like perks. It's a similar concept, just a slightly different take on it. There are a lot of videos out there about it, so I would highly recommend checking it out. It does look like it could be very interesting. Anything else from anyone else?
No, not really. Just, in movies, the Prometheus 2 sequel thingy has been titled as Alien Covenant, and it's supposed to be the follow-up for Prometheus, and we all know Prometheus didn't really make any sense whatsoever.
Prometheus made enough sense.
Yeah, if you,
aliens.
There's an alien, but I mean, they pretty much managed to assemble the biggest group of idiot scientists in the world, and then sent them across space, and then they went and pet snakes and came back as zombies and shit. So,
I won't defend the scientists' motivation or how they acted, but everything around that does actually make sense.
From a point of view, yes, it does, but I don't think Prometheus was initially what people were expecting too much. I myself love Prometheus. I love it to bits. Every bit of it, I love every bit of it. There's nothing, according to me, there's nothing wrong with the film, but I have heard the scientists have been criticized quite a lot, because the biologist guy especially, petting the little snake worm thingy was quite unnecessary, even from a big fan's point of view. So I'd just like to know now, is Ridley Scott going to continue with this line of stupidity in his Alien Covenant sequel, or is he going to veer away from...
Well, it depends, because Prometheus was initially... the movie wasn't actually an Aliens prequel.
It was supposed to be a standalone, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well, no, it was initially meant to be an Aliens prequel. Then another guy came out and changed a lot of very interesting ideas into a lot of not so interesting ideas to be something a lot different.
You see, Prometheus is basically the epitome result of, hey guys, wouldn't it be cool if... And then they threw this bunch of ideas together that don't necessarily make sense in the Alien universe. So now Ridley Scott wants to make the second one, and he wants to make 2 more after that as well.
But you see, you have to also understand that Ridley Scott never accepted Aliens as a good movie. He didn't actually agree with what it did. So Ridley Scott, Alien as itself is only the real canonical Alien movie.
Yes. So now the second Prometheus movie, Alien Covenant, that is actually the proper second Alien movie that ties into the 1979 classic that we all love to bits with pretty much the bravest cat in the world in it. So yeah, I think I've got hope for the franchise now that Ridley Scott is in.
From what I understand is that the sequel now is going to be actually the official prequel to the Alien movie.
Yes, it is.
Which is so the events in this will lead up to to the Alien movie, and I think that's what fans really wanted, and I think that's what fans thought they were getting with Prometheus. Yeah. And I think that's why the movie got such a lot of criticism, because it's kind of like just was the expectations from the fans, going to this movie and saying, "Oh, we're getting a Alien prequel," and just kind of going like, "That's not what I paid my money here for,"
Yeah. People came in expecting like, "Oh, now we're going to know where the alien came from," and they didn't get that at all. Instead they got like
read the books, you son of bitches. That's the only thing I can say on that one. You want to find out more about where the aliens came from, you want to find out more about the Predators, you want to find out more about their relationship around the universe, read the books. God damn it.
Of course that'll expand your view, but
grumpy old man moment.
Well, look, the Prometheus movie did help. It did clarify that the alien xenomorph was used as a biological weapon by the creators. But we just don't know how the ship crashed. We don't know where the ship at the beginning of the original Alien movie came from. A lot of people mistake the movie in Prometheus, the planet in Prometheus, as the planets in the first Alien movie, which is not the case.
Yes, it's not the same place. That is the cardinal sin of not understanding Prometheus. It is not the same planet. It's even got a completely different designation, everything. Like, you really have to go back.
It's still LV. It's still LV, but that's it.
Yeah, it's not like the number is completely different that they attach to it.
That's just a naming convention. I mean, LV, it stands for something.
Yes.
Litmus variable.
This brings me to a very interesting little cameo that appears in Prometheus, actually.
Oh, is this the Blade Runner thing?
Yeah, the Blade Runner thing.
Yeah.
It's actually, there's a thing way at the end of the credits, I believe, where they claim affiliation with the guy who made the android thingies in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So they're saying this could actually pan out to be the same universe, because we all know now there's a Blade Runner sequel in the works as well. So if they're going to tie these things together in the Alien Covenant universe that Ridley Scott is designing now, that depends, because we do know Michael Fassbender is back for the sequels, and he's of course the most likable android guy with like the most questionable motives ever. But he's a fan favorite. I personally love him as David. It's a great role. I think it was brilliantly cast. So I'm quite looking forward to whatever Ridley Scott is about to churn out for us, actually. So
I'm keeping an open mind, and of course then there's the Neil Blomkamp version of the actual Alien sequel.
That was actually shelved now.
Oh, no, it hasn't been permanently shelved. They're still talking about it.
They don't know how to proceed now that Ridley Scott climbed on the bandwagon.
Yeah, but I think he has to wait until the second Prometheus movie finishes before he does anything.
Maybe he can consult with the next one, something like that.
Look, I think for me is that James Cameron should stop making Smurf movies and actually get back to making another Alien movie, because I love the Aliens. The Aliens movie to me was amazing.
You should just stop taking all the credit for his artists in. This guy was sitting there. It's like, oh, the art is brilliant for this thing. It's like, yeah, I know, thank you. Like, what about the 400 artists who drew the things?
Yeah,
exactly, it's like, no, that had nothing to do with it. It was all me.
Never forget H.R. Geiger either. If you ever seen a book of his artwork based on
I have several. I have several books of his artwork.
Oh man, I mean, and he was one of the, he was brought in for the movie. Dude, some of the stuff in his books, like the sketches and things that you would never see.
When he came out, man, no one ever saw a xenomorph before. He was basically the father of the horror genre. Sorry. He gave us things we never saw before, and in 1979, that xenomorph was pretty fucking terrifying.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was also he also designed the creature in what was that movie with that female who was an alien, but it was also a guy who designed it. What's it called?
Those damn female aliens.
No, not really.
I don't know. Although, just as a little thing, Morris, sorry, I was going to say this earlier, but the flood, I would have interrupted the fluid. It would have been terrible. Now you just made me think of Natasha Henstridge, and we're never going to get back on topic.
Wait, hold on.
Never going to get back. Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
Give me 4.5.
And I'm good. Replicants is the name of the androids from Blade Runner.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Sorry, that was bugging me. I just had to get that out there. I'm one of those annoying people who half an hour later, when the conversation's moved on, they pop up and go, "Oh, I just remembered."
I just did it as well. I remember what the movie was. Yeah.
Yes, there you go. Species, which was
fucking terrible, though.
Oh well, I didn't say it was a good movie. I just said that guy.
Well, I do remember a certain scene that upset me as a teenager, very much in that movie. I think you all know what scene I'm talking about. It's like pretty much.
I don't remember anything about it. I've got to be honest.
Well, basically, you got Natasha Henstridge and this guy she's about to, like, boink, and she's, like, undressing. And for a teenage boy, that's quite a traumatic experience, I can tell you.
But I think we need to have a little offline chat about what things you find traumatic. That's clearly that should not be traumatic.
Well, in the polite way, I have to say. I think it also, that specific scene, I think Cinema Blends. I think it was like the second most paused scene in movie history as well. That certain scene there, which is quite interesting, I think, because there's quite a few things that I think people would like a second look at, and I didn't expect that to be like, oh whoa, let's just view this for half an hour, you know.
Anyway, right, okay, so Natasha Henstridge aside, let's wrap up here, I think, gents. I'd
like to wrap up.
Bit.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I've just seen it was actually a third Species movie.
Yeah, there is. It's even worse than the first two.
Well, obviously it is, because whenever you don't hear about it, it's always terrible. It's like the third and fourth Starship Troopers movie.
Oh, that was
sorry,
horrible.
Can I just point out that Tremors 4 is an absolute masterpiece, and I don't know what y'all are talking about.
I haven't seen it, so I can't say. Is that the one in South Africa?
I don't know. I don't know where it's set, but I just cried and switched
it off. It's
off.
horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. Right, okay, so let's wrap it up, chaps. Thanks once again for coming and listening.
Don't think you're getting out of... Whoa. You're not getting out of your word of the day. You're not getting out of it. Check the Skype window, read that word there.
Okay, so apparently this is now something that I have to do quite frequently, is everyone gets to laugh at me trying to pronounce Afrikaans words.
Yeah, so give that a whack. I'll tell you what it is.
Magonga Steelhead.
That was surprisingly...
Magonga Steelhead. Magonga Stelhead. Stelthead. What the fuck? What does that mean?
That means diarrhea.
Oh God. You know what? That is possibly the worst word you could ever like. At least you can get diarrhea. You can say diarrhea quite quickly. So if you're like, I need to go like now, and someone's like, why? What's wrong? And you say, I got fucking diarrhea, and you can run.
No, but this takes
if you're saying like, what? What's a fout, Leafy? Near, ek het Magonga steel. Oh shit! Well, now you know anyway, because I've got to go get a mop.
Yeah.
Congratulations to us for taking it all the way until the end of the podcast before we started talking about poop. So that's fantastic. Well done us.
At least we left out semen today.
We had until that moment. Yeah. Right. Okay. Back on track. Okay. Eugene, if you wouldn't mind, just anything that you can say. Throw some links to SkyCastle so anyone can check you guys out.
Yeah, you can. We've got. Visit us on Facebook, SkyCastle Games and Toys. Check out our website. Join us follow us on Twitter. We're just basically, for the next year, we're going to be pushing a lot on board games. We've started a campaign along with some of the other board game distributors like Board Game South Africa and Blowfish Entertainment. It's called Unplug Yourself. Just watch that name. We're still going to be doing a lot with that, and there's a lot more coming over the next few months. So yeah, just stay tuned for that. And just all the board gamers out there who have just supported us up until this point, we just want to say thanks a lot. You've helped us do a lot this year, and yeah, we really appreciate it.
Good man.
Awesome.
And I like the imagery that Unplugged. That brings something quite cool. Yeah, like we were saying earlier about getting away from the PC and playing a physical game and switching your phone off and all the rest of it.
Unless you're playing XCOM, which actually needs.
Unless you're playing XCOM, then switch it on.
Also needs your phone.
Yeah,
2 or 3 more games.
Damn it! Okay, I like the imagery nonetheless, even though the couple of the games that are coming out are messing with it. From your side, if you wouldn't mind, Kharrak?
What am I doing?
Anything. Just a little closing statement. Anything you want to say? You could just say bye.
You tell us.
Okay, goodbye.
There you go. And then, Mr. Morris, you can sign off as well.
All right, may the force be with you. Cheerio.
There you go. Gentlemen and ladies, thank you very much for listening in. I will be throwing up links to SkyCastle and everything involved, the Twitter, the Facebook, all the rest of it, in the little wordy section below the YouTube video. Thanks very much for listening in, and we will see you next week. So until then, keep gaming.